Okay, there we go. Hello. Christian, I thought you were going to be absent. I thought you had, oh, you have after. I got your schedule
Yeah,
mixed up. Okay.
lunchtime.
So I got a message from Narsema asking for AI meeting notes, but he's not here. How could that occur? Okay. Allison's here. Stacy's here.
On video. Oh, yeah.
Like, never till I get on Zoom do I realize how bad my hair is. Christina, it's really good to see you. Where are you now?
Yeah, good to see you all too. It's been a while. I'm
Long
still
time.
in Boston, but I'm moving next week. So I'm in the middle of packing everything.
Yeah, when do you start?
That's still open because I still don't have my visa. So I'm moving to the UK and I'm still waiting for the visa and I hope I get it by the end of next week so I can go there. Yeah, I was supposed to start on the 1st of August.
Oh, that's been and gone.
Hmm.
Yeah, so few updates. Well, I don't know. Kristen, do you know who's joining this meeting? I thought Narsima was joining, and I think Kartik said maybe. Oh, Kartik said maybe. Cool, yeah. Narsima will probably. Um, few updates for folks. Christina, maybe you just want to tell everybody about your new position.
Yeah,
No, just that you're moving.
I'll move to the UK to start a lecturer position at UCL. So kind of an assistant professorship in the UK system.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
And for those of you who don't know UCL, University College of London, um, they have I've seen a lot of work out of there about connecting like social, technical, just the kind of thing we're trying to do. So I, yeah, I think that's a really lucky placement. Um, Kartik has just landed at in Vancouver to start his position at University of British Columbia.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so he was really gracious. He talked to us, Zara and I, Monday morning, and he was like, he didn't even have internet in his apartment yet, so he was sitting outside the university building. Yeah, and um and I have other news. Chris won't be joining us and may not ever join us again because he became department head, which is and so his time is extremely constrained. But I do have a communication from him about his paper, so we can talk about that.
Great.
And then Raidul will probably not join us either. I'm not really sure of his status, but his wife got a job in Florida, and he is pursuing a job in Florida. And anyway, he's kind of in transition. So um however, we did put together a presentation for the scenarios forum using the agent-based model, and that happened last month. So even though Raidul isn't present, I'm pretty confident that finally, eventually, we're going to have a paper on that. Any updates that I don't know about? Stacy, you got a cute haircut, and I know you've sort of moved your home. You want to say anything about that?
Like my background?
Your back.
Oh, no. I'm like, I changed my background behind me too. I did not move
Oh,
out.
No, I meant your institutional
The
home.
institutional home, of course, of course.
I didn't notice your background, I'm afraid.
That was funny. Um, yeah, so the Smart Energy Design Assistance Center uh, had been organized under a professor in the University of Illinois Department of Fine and Applied Arts. And we recently transitioned on July 1st to um, a new home within the university system. We're now with the Office of the Vice President for Economic Development and Innovation. And we have a new name for our organization. We are now the Energy Sense Resilience Center. Still figuring it out what that all means. We are in partnership and networked closely with a group called the Illinois Innovation Network, which is also within the system level. So kind of a network consortium of universities, colleges, state agencies that are working on social, economic, and environmental projects across the state. We're still working on the same type of renewable energy and energy efficiency programs that we had in the past. It's becoming harder to do under the current administration. So a little bit bummed out this morning, hearing that the Solar for All program federally has just been canceled and that states are receiving termination letters for that. I would have received a grant to work on the project with one of the counties in Illinois. We were kind of awarded that and then not awarded that in short form. So
I'm really sorry to hear that.
yeah,
I know you've been working so hard to lay the groundwork for working with communities.
yeah. We're I look forward to hearing more. I know that Illinois had a pretty robust Solar for All program before any federal funding ever came into the mix. The federal funding would have really expanded the offering for low-income homeowners, schools, and many nonprofits. But this sort of throws a wrench in those plans. Just real quick, weirdly, I have some money left on this project.
You have like $400.
I know. I was told repeatedly that it was zero and that I couldn't spend any more. But now that I'm in a new home and I have a new business office and I have a new grant support person, he's like, yeah, you can spend that.
So, I mean, do whatever you. So
So I'm going to charge for this meeting. I don't know, right?
yeah,
We'll go
exactly.
down to zero.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations to Christina and Kartik for escaping the United States at exactly the right time. Good job.
Incredible.
We're gonna come visit you. And then so I promised to answer questions about the annual report. When I received a notice or let's see, Narasimha has submitted his annual report already. He forwarded me the like your project report has been submitted and it didn't even have a project officer anymore.
Yeah,
And
I
it's
saw
like,
that too.
okay, that person was so checked out, but like now they're just admitting it. I also know that she is currently running what is it, the STC program? Like something much big, right? I'm like, I really don't know. I really don't understand the internal workings of NSF. But I am not inclined to try to communicate to the project officer. They do not seem to care. And so we should just submit our required documentation. But it will be brief. On other projects where, so first of all, I want to do good work, right? That hasn't changed. we always want to do good work, but it's really not necessary to try to engage the project officer and inform them about what we're doing and get their feedback. That is, with this particular program, that has never seemed to be of interest to the leadership. And so I don't feel the need to invest more than they it's like not gonna pay off. Um, so Stacy, do you want to ask questions about your project report?
Yeah, so the main questions that I have about the project report, um, I mean, from a financial side, it looked like I got some bad information, right, from my business office. They told me that they weren't charging on the project probably before October of 2024. That clearly wasn't true. They were charging for my time on the project through December of 24. I was told I had $0. That also wasn't true. So from a project reporting standpoint, since the University of Illinois is showing a financial spend down, do I need to be more detailed in any of the boxes other than
How much,
putting, nothing to report?
how much did you spend over the last year?
I don't know, like 6,000.
6,000. Oh, so
Like
they
I think
billed
we
you
charged 2,000 a month for my time, October, November, and December, which
in
in
24.
24. So that would be the first quarter of the program year.
Okay. So
that as a
first of all,
program.
my advice is
Yeah.
that the program year ends 30th of September. I would see if you can get that spent out so you don't have to submit another project report, or you can put nothing to report next year.
Yeah, so spend down the rest of what I have now.
Mhm.
And then what about in the current report that's due?
Then
Do
I
I have
would
to be more detailed because
well
of that spend?
the first thing that they ask is what did you do, right?
Right.
So just I mean, not make up. I mean, of course, you were around, you did work on the project, you provided comments on the paper. So just make a short list of activities
Okay.
that supports your that amount of money. And it's not a lot of money, right?
No, that's not a ton. Okay.
And then
Okay.
in the box that says what are you going to do during the next project period, just say the money's gone, right? Or in a nicer nicer words.
All funds have been spent. Yeah. All
The funds have
been
been fully
spent.
expended and there will be no further activities or something, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Seriously, I've never had such a weird project in my life, right? Like they I had to, because I was like, when they didn't continue us, I was like, oh, do we have to spend down the money, or like, when does the project end? And then it ends after the 5 years total. And so then I wrote to the project officer saying, what do we have to do, right? Like, and I think we had to ask several different offices, and finally we got like a one-line response from the program manager saying, we just it's nice for you to have time to like close out the project, and not addressing the like, it is super weird that we're not giving you any more money, but your project lasts for another 3 years, right?
Yeah, the
Not,
grants and contracts manager on my end also noted that. He's like, it said it was going to be $150,000, but you only got
that's
2 years of that, right? And he's like, what? Are you getting more? Are you not getting, like, what is going on here? It looked very weird to our
Right.
business office now too.
Yeah. As I think I've said to a couple of people, this is the kind of project, like, this is the kind of, if you went into a business that was run like this, you would immediately know it was a drug front. And So I think that that's what's, I'm not really sure what's going on here, but. So I think, we are committed to the work. We do the work that we're paid for. We produce products, which is what I'd like to talk about here. And then it's done. And we got the opportunity to initiate lines of inquiry that are bearing fruit in other ways. We formed connections. It took us a long time to figure out what we were doing, and the project provided us the space to think about that. And so our ideas, although still having some fuzziness, are more clear. And so we can be grateful for that, even though it's a rather strange situation. Okay, so any other questions on the report, Stacy?
No, I can fill that out based on what we've said here.
Okay. And I used to try to coordinate our submissions. Just submit it when you're ready. Ellison, I'll be asking you for very brief things, and I'll do the same to Ryan.
Okay.
And then the other thing I wanted to chat about with this group is the papers that are in the works. Kristen had sent out, before I start that, Kristen had sent out a request for people to schedule. I don't know that we're going to get people to schedule. NARCIM seems to be really busy. But I think there's a couple of things that I want to bring up to the group that would be wonderful to chat about. Kartik wanted to share his sort of research vision for what he's going to do in his new professorship, and I thought it would be great for the group to hear that. And then there's been a lot of activity on the project with Illinois that Stacy will know about. Zara's been very active on that, and it's some of the more technical aspects of electrification that we've spoken about, but there's also a strong connection to workforce and jobs, which is a thing that I eventually wanted to promote in this project. And so for those people who are not involved with the Illinois work, I thought you might like to hear about that. So I thought of just setting a time to chat when people could show up, and we could tell you about some of these things, because since we all had very similar interests, it might be good to just keep abreast of what other people are doing in case there's something that people could still do together. How are the responses going on that, Kristen?
I've received one from Ellison. Thank you. Nobody else.
Okay, that's great.
No, I think Ryan had said he could do 9 a.m. on Fridays, and since that was the original one, I think we had talked about maybe keeping that and just dedicating one of the Fridays a month for respect as opposed to CGI. But I was gonna wait to see if anybody else had any conflicts for that Friday.
Okay. Are you waiting for anyone who's here that we can nudge right now?
Yeah, I mean, if everybody is free at 9 a.m. Mountain Time Fridays.
So who have you not received responses from? Who could respond about 9 a.m. right now?
I'd have to go look.
So is 9 a.m. Mountain Time is 10 a.m. here, Central Time? Is that when the CJI residential team has been meeting?
Yeah, we switch Tuesdays, Fridays. So if we only do it once a month for respect, then we could do the Tuesday that week.
Stacy, you've responded, so thank you.
Yeah.
And Ryan and Ellison. Yeah, so I have those three. So it
Yeah,
works for
NARCIM, it
Christine
seems
and
hard.
Zara. Mhm.
I think he's just gotten very important or something. A friend texted me a meme that said, I've gotten important at work and it's ruining my life. So maybe that's happened to him. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to check in on is the papers. And really what I want to get out of respect, it's winding down. We're almost done with our money. We'll probably spend into the next project period, but not very long. Like our money will be gone by December 31st. And and it won't cover anyone full-time for that period. So the farther you get from just a minute, I'm opening something. The farther you get from the project, the less likely it is that you're going to produce the papers, even though it may look like you will have much more time in the future. You never do. So where's the list of papers? Give me a minute. I was just gonna, I've been still using the one from our from that long ago presentation that we did for F. So Brian could not be here today, so that's too bad. But the first one is his paper. And I know he's gone through some submissions on that. I'll catch up with him about that later. Here, I'm gonna do. Give me a minute. Sorry, I should have had this ready. Presentations. I'm just gonna do this. Papers. Okay. Then I'll just delete all this other stuff that we don't need anymore. Ta-da. Okay. And then I can mark in it. So I'll follow up with Ryan about this. Allison, do you want to say anything about your well-being representation paper?
Sure. I would like to propose converting it to a more of a miniature review. That would be on the order of 2,000 to 3,000 words, still for journal like Indoor Environment or Building an Environment. There's also a new journal, Environmental Research Health. And I've published in environmental research before it started, like a lot of journals these days are like taking their parent model and then splitting off component models. Those three seemed like good targets, and they have like it's not a commentary, but it's basically something that I would consider like on the order of ES&T letters, like short. Be like maybe 2 tables, 2 figures. I have a draft of that going based on the work that Zara and I did with you, Tammy. And I would like to circulate it unless there's discussion that we need to have about basically condensing it. The introduction
how many words
remains
is it now?
more than that. Like it, but that's because I haven't really like it's not in a draft form to share. It's like the discussion is just residues of our past meetings that has not been
Sure.
edited. So it's not a lot of work, I think, to bring it down to that. It's more about really, I think, the there's two figures. One is the flow diagram of how things were selected, and one is a representation of themes based on the clustering. Well, I don't know, based on the classification system that Zara and I worked on in the original spreadsheet of papers. Then it would have a supplemental table that is a list of all the references, which I think is important just for people to know where the data are coming from, but I don't think it should be in the main body of the manuscript. And then I
That's
think
fair.
that the table that would be in the, so it's one table, two figures right now. And the one table is, this is where I think there could be a fair amount of input, or it doesn't need to stay the way it is, but I think what I put forward is here's what clustered in terms of language that was used in papers, and then here's how we think it maps onto some frameworks for thinking about well-being, borrowing heavily from a couple of reviews that we'll cite. I don't feel like what I propose in that table must be what goes forward, but I really don't want to bog it down in trying to get a perfect mapping. I think the purpose of the table is to say there are names of things that people use in the studies that were included in our review. We had to cluster them in some way in order to produce a figure that shows where there's heavy representation of well-being and where there's less representation of well-being. And this is the filter through which we did that. That's the purpose, I think, of that table. And it's not, I don't feel like it's final, so I can't show it to you, but that's what I'm finalizing to send out. Or that's like the last piece before I'd want to send it out to people on this team.
So do you have a timeline? I feel like that this has been sort of near closure for a while. Like my sense is that you feel like you've gone as far as you can with it, and then the question is just how to present it to the world. And so now you've settled on this format. Is that right? Like there's not a lot of new analysis, right?
Right. I think that's correct. And I don't know, I think something that I feel like maybe if we talked about, I have forgotten, who should I share it with? I mean, I tend to operate from an opt-out, like everyone that's been part of the past meetings would be welcome to contribute at this stage, because we've done multiple presentations to the group and gotten people's feedback. So I could just send it to you and you can send it out, or I can send it out. I don't really feel super strongly.
Yeah, I would say, and what do you mean by contribute? So I think we should not just knock this paper out, right? Like,
yeah, well, no, I think the question like, I would put everybody on the author list, and we haven't really talked about that ever in a
why
way
don't
that I
we?
feel, yeah, that I don't see any reason not to. So I think that's what I'm looking for, is just permission to do that.
So Christina's here, and sorry, Zara's already on the list. So I guess the question is,
I don't
who's
think
going to need to
contribute.
approve? And Stacy's not on the author list, but I think Stacy has really good. Oh, wait, how come Stacy's not on this list? Stacy totally should be on this list. Insert columns to the left. Stacy. Okay, so Stacy was on this one, right? Oh my God, now I don't know how to make them different colors. Okay, Stacy, is that a thing that you would want to be involved in? Because I think you've had a lot of comments on well-being.
Yeah, I'd be happy to comment and provide review.
Cool. Okay. And then Allison, I wouldn't, so Kartik's not here, but he's in process, so I would just send it to the whole respect group and
Mhm.
and ask if they want to be, I'm not really sure what the question to ask is. Um,
I mean, usually the way I approach it is like anyone included, I feel has already contributed intellectually through conversations that we've had as a team, and that if they would prefer to be left off the author list, they can opt out, but they wouldn't need to provide
That's fair.
additional comments, but I would like them to see what the final product is like and confirm that they've received it, reviewed it to a level that they consider satisfactory, so that if in the future somebody says you're on this paper, they could speak to it at least in a familiar way. Right.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. So, um, I'm
I
just,
guess another way to put
maybe I'll
that
put
is
a,
like acknowledging that they have received an email that says there was a draft. Not like people have to be able to recall on command 2 years from now, what was this paper about? But more so that they're aware that their contribution that was made maybe even several years ago,
Yep.
has woven its way into the paper
Okay.
itself.
Okay. Okay. What can we do to help you? What, sometimes it's just moral support.
I think my goal is to get it sent out before the semester starts, which for us is in 2 weeks, I think roughly.
Okay. And then when would you
And
want comments, like 2 or 3 weeks?
2 or 3 weeks, I think would be fine.
Okay. Okay. I heard from Kartik that he submitted this paper, the next one on the list. It was just like within the last week or two, so that's good. The agent-based paper is one that I'm still, like I said, we just really got product preparing for the scenarios meeting. And so I'm seeing that as another broad authorship paper because I feel like a lot of people contributed. Um, but I don't have a deadline for that yet. Um, I've ended up doing more work on that or more leadership on that than I expected. And my time is limited, but I want to set a deadline for this paper, like 10/31. And I'm gonna ask for Zara's help with that. Okay, the next one is Christina's paper. What can we do for you, Christina?
Yeah, I have submitted it finally.
You did? Yay!
Yeah.
Where did you submit it to?
We went for Jewel. Let's see what happens, but
Awesome.
we can try, right? So, yeah.
Great. Well, that's great to hear. Okay, wait, no, oh yeah, ignore the green ones. I have to clean up these,
Yeah, that
um,
was just a function
it
of adding the extra column.
it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Chris's paper, and my understanding from Chris is that that has been, that got comments from Ryan and Stacy,
Mhm.
and it seemed like something was needed, especially from Ryan. Um, and that hasn't happened yet. And so I'm going to follow up with Ryan. But Stacy, when you read that paper, this is Chris's interview paper.
Yeah.
When you read that, how close did you feel it was to submission? Because Chris seems to think it's kind of mostly done.
I thought it was pretty mostly done when I was doing that review. I feel like that goes back to December
Yeah, Chris said
before the
January
end
was
of
the
the year.
last time.
So like I'm not sure I'm not sure how to say, what is when do you know that done is done?
So my impression is that, um, and again, not having everybody in the same room, my impression has been that people are kind of waiting for other people. So I feel like this needs a team effort to get it out the door.
Mm.
I I think that with Chris's new responsibilities, we're at risk of losing this work.
Mm.
Um, and 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 I know that Ryan is extremely he's got a lot going on with the Illinois project along very similar lines. They're going to be doing interviews. And so yeah, I wonder how to get this done. Ryan was not able to attend the meeting today, and I had to schedule it, choosing to exclude him because no, we did not have a common time for all of us. But this is a conversation I need to have with Ryan, but I also would like to have like a team effort on getting this out the door because it's so close. Team effort, not a good idea. Somebody needs to be in charge. It- and so I need to take the lead to push Ryan to do the work. Okay, this one that Narasimha read was published. Yay! In, dang, what was it called? iScience. Okay. And this last one is the kind of the comparable one. Okay, I'm gonna delete Shang Wei's because Shang Wei kind of never he didn't fully integrate with the group. Nothing against him, I'm sure he's doing great work, but he was similar to Christina's position. He was at another university connecting with Narasimha, but I think Christina got much more integrated. And perhaps they are working on this, but I'm not going to have it be the responsibility of the project unless people disagree. Oh, everything turned funny. Okay. Okay. So the last one was the paper that I have been toying with. And Allison, similar to you, I felt like this is a 3,000 word paper.
Yeah.
And it is, I struggle with it. So it could be so broad, or there's so many directions that it could go that it's very easy to go into a rabbit hole and be like, now I have to review all the work on well-being ever, which is, only several different disciplines. And you must have fought with this too, Allison.
Yeah. I mean, I think this speaks to actually a broader issue that scientific publishing is facing, that we're not equipped to solve at the level of a project, let alone an individual paper.
Yeah.
There's a historical expectation that if you survey the literature, you will comprehensively cover what has been written on that subject, and that's an entirely unrealistic expectation now at this point. So I think that's where I'm coming from in thinking that, you know, someone else can deal with what the specific terminology should be, but I think calling things either, selective or systematic or, bounded is the way to deal with it. Then I think what I felt incumbent on me, at least, is to say, why are we doing this? We're not doing this so that we can say we know everything about what's been written on representing well-being in these types of field studies.
Right.
We're doing it because we think we're trying to provide an answer to a question that we think is worthwhile. And that's where I don't think there's I don't know, like appealing to traditional ways of writing things where reviewers are like, oh, yes, I know what you're doing and I agree with it. Like, I think there's just this tiny little leap of like, as a reviewer, you have to be okay with me not knowing everything about the subject, but still framing a really good question and answering it in a thoughtful way. And that's where I've landed.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm
Um,
facing this in other things I'm trying to write as well, right?
Yeah.
Where I get stuck on like, well, now I need to write a section about, participation or empowerment or something.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like, well,
yeah,
see you in a couple of years.
yeah, right. Exactly. No, I know. And um, I think the good thing is that I think for like like my positive take on it has been that it does push us, or I feel pushed myself to more clearly articulate a really good question instead of a, a more, not that it's a bad question, but I think it's an easier question to ask, which is like, what's out there and what have other people done? That's really more of a like, I go into the forest and describe all the trees. But like, if what
Yeah.
I'm looking for is a particular type of or set of flowers that I want to describe because I think that admiring beauty is important, then I will write my question differently. And I don't have to, I'm not responsible for everything that's ever grown in the forest. Um, I think it's good because I think it pushes us as scientists to ask better questions. But I think in the individual experience of writing a paper and then the individual experience of getting reviews, uh, I think we're not quite there in that future yet. Where we
I agree. Yeah. We're in transition to a new
yeah,
thing, and we're
yeah,
having to define that new thing as we transition.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will also say that I have planted myself at Yale for the month of September, because I have a sabbatical and I'm like, well, I just want to work on well-being for a little while. So the way I can find Narasimha is to go to his office. And um and so my part of my September will be trying to frame that paper in that way. It's another one where I do not have um I don't have a commitment other than, as you said, Allison, what is the question we're trying to answer? The
Mhm.
so and that's probably one of the best first things I can do. What are you doing with this paper and what are you not doing?
Yeah. Mhm.
Um, and so what I need to move this paper forward, which I think really speaks to the heart of respect, is I think I need to continue to talk to people about this. And that sounds very vague and fuzzy and just time consuming without a product. But I find that I form on this type of very broad, fuzzy thing, I form ideas in conversation with people. I sometimes don't do very well. Like just reading a bunch of papers is helpful in one way, but then it does not focus my thinking in the way that conversation does. So I intend to have conversations with Narasimha because he's really dived into like how to the sort of decent living standards and thinking about well-being that way. But I feel like I would really benefit with or benefit from um trying to describe something, writing something, and then having other people react to it and talk about it in a broad but focused way, right? And maybe more specifically, the question that I want to answer with this paper is people want to be very broad when they discuss well-being, but they actually don't. They actually don't want to discuss like every aspect of well-being. What they want to say is, hey, there's more to this one problem than we're actually studying, and some of these facets are more germane than others.
Mhm.
And so I think this paper developed in response to what Ellison was working on, like finding that people were calling something well-being that was actually quite narrow. But then if you challenge them on the narrowness of their vision, then you're like, well, and you have to do everything. The answer is no, you do not have to do everything. What is it that we do, right? What is it that we should choose to do?
Yeah.
So that's a struggle. I think that's kind of a long-term project that will not be done by even December 31st, but I would like by 12/31 to have kind of a draft of what the question is and what some of the answers are. Okay. Um, any other thoughts on this? Thank you all for joining. It's really nice to see people that we haven't seen in a while.
I agree. Thanks for organizing.
Yeah.
Bringing us together.
And good luck with your move, Christina, and your visa. Okay, I don't have anything else. Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thank you.
weekend.
Oh yeah, it's Friday.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Tammy, could
Bye.
I ask you a
Bye.
CJI question?
Yeah, go ahead. Everyone else can drop off if you wish.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for bringing this all together. It was good to see everybody. So
Hold on, I'm going to stop the
that's fine. So,
recording.
oh, okay.
Stop recording.